All right, and with that, welcome into our Burdick BMW, Burdick Lexus post-game coverage here today. Brian Higgins along with you, Cuse Sports Talk exclusively brought to you by our friends at Lipton Hard Iced Tea and Labatt Blue. Okay, we're hanging here for the next hour. Cuse win it today. Not the most compelling game of basketball ever played, but the Orange win it today by 12. Even the record at a 6-6 as we head toward closing out the new year, or the new year, heading toward opening up the new year. That's what we're going with. Syracuse 75, Bucknell 63. Realistically, if you're looking at the game, the last, let's call it 5 minutes or so of the first half, essentially what decided it. Kind of a sloppy game, but the Orange did enough then. The Orange did enough inside between Lampkin and Freeman and Majstorovic. Yes, Peter Majstorovic. Should we? We're going to have to work on saying that again. Drill the right way to say his name. Back in our heads here a little bit. Not Master Itch or whatever was going on there. But Syracuse gets it done. They get it done. The second half was definitely not pretty basketball. Orange ended up with 21 turnovers in the game. Bucknell had 17 points off. Both teams were right around 20-19 in favor of Syracuse in that category. You look at numbers that potentially defined the game. The Orange shot the ball great in the first half. The Orange shot the ball 57% as a team in the first half. That dipped to 37% after halftime. The Orange made 6 out of 12 threes in the first half. They made just 1 out of 11 threes in the second half. I don't know if anyone's heard that the Snoop Dogg Bowl's up next. Has anybody heard about that Snoop Dogg Bowl? But get in there, get in the chat here on Twitch and YouTube. We'll hang out in the chat. The phone lines are open throughout the next hour here at 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. We'll take your calls, and when he hits the podium, we will get you to Red Autry's full post-game press conference today. So great game, though, from Eddie Lampkin, especially early. We talk about it's been so hard to judge his year because of the back injury that clearly he's was going through early on in the year. You look back at the last 2-3 games now for Lampkin, it would appear that, at least for the moment, you never know with a bad back, that he's feeling much better in that regard. He's getting up and down the court. He looks more like himself on offense. 18 points, 11 boards for Lampkin today in 28 minutes. That's what Syracuse is going to need from a guy like him. Donnie Freeman, slow start today, had 2 early fouls in the game, got teed up in the game, but he was huge late in the first half when the Orange opened up the decisive margin. Ends up with 15 points and 11 rebounds today. And how about what Majstorovic did there late in the first half when Freeman was on the bench with fouls? He has 9 points in just 11 minutes, hits a nice 3. He's getting up and down, physically playing skilled. I'd say that was a nice showing today from Majstorovic. Certainly showed a lot more in that stretch than we saw from the Big Duke, Naheem McLeod, in the 2 minutes that preceded when he came in the game. Another just head-scratching game for Chris Bell. He can block your shot. He can get your highlight. He cannot make the ball in the basket. It's the 5th straight game now where Chris Bell has not made a 3. He's missed his last 15 consecutive 3-pointers for Syracuse. Double-figure scores were Lampkin, Freeman, and Carlos today. Lampkin, Freeman, and Carlos. Interesting game for Carlos. 11 points and 9 assists, 5 rebounds for Jaquan. So he filled it up today. Solid game for him. And I think, all right, we're trying to concoct a way that Syracuse can be something when JJ gets back here. Chris Bell, just 16 minutes today, 17 minutes last game. Lucas Taylor here, talking about where a minute's going to go when JJ comes back. Elijah Moore struggled today, did not score in 16 minutes. Lucas Taylor, between small forward and shooting guard today, at 24 minutes, 9 points, all in the first half. He made 3 threes. He made 3s last game as well. So we wondered, okay, here's a guy that showed last year as a 35% three-point shooter when he was Georgia State's leading scorer, that he could make shots from the outside. Well, finally now, the last 2 games, he has made shots from the outside. And if he is going to do that, it makes it a lot easier to park Chris Bell on the bench here, as he is, man, it's been an odd odd descent here for Bell over the course of the last month or so. Certainly, I mean, he's had a very hasn't had a very good season to begin with, but certainly since J.J. Starling's gone out, Chris Bell's inadequacies have been ultra exposed by basically everybody else's defense that we've seen. And you know what? Shout out to Kyle Cuff here of late. What do you have? 10 points last game. He's carving himself out a roll. 24 minutes, 9 points. It's on 3 of 9 shooting, 1 of 6 from 3. No, he's not a great shooter. Well, we talk about on this team what was lacking in that Maryland game last week. A lot of things. But what was lacking in that Maryland game? Effort, intensity, something like that. Kyle Cuff's got that. This team needs a little something like that here of late, and it feels like Red Autry has identified that recently. Cuff playing the 24 minutes in this ballgame. This is not garbage time minutes. This is a game Syracuse won by 12. They never ran away and hid. They tried to a couple times, but Bucknell lingered around. It looked like Syracuse was going to put the ball game totally away early on in the second half. It was 13 at the half. They got it up to 14 real quick after halftime. It looked like they were just about to stamp on it. Then all of a sudden, like you blinked, and it was down to 6. Bucknell had an 8-0 run. It was like a minute and a half. You're like, oh. And then that's just kind of the way the rest of the game worked. Like Syracuse led almost the entire game. There was only 5 lead changes. They all happened in the first half. Bucknell led during the game for less than 5 minutes total. The Orange led the entire second half, but it never quite felt over. The turnovers of late have become extremely worrisome. Where, look back to the beginning of the year, Syracuse, again, they weren't playing great, but they had some extremely low turnover games. They were having single-digit turnover games. How much of this is, where do you pin this on? There was 21 turnovers today. Is that sloppiness? Is that not having one of your top 2 guards? You look at where the turnovers came from today. Carlos, who's got the ball in his hands a lot in 39 minutes, had 3 turnovers. That's you talk about how much he's got the ball. That's okay. Donnie Freeman, freshman, 5 turnovers. Elijah Moore forced into the starting lineup because of the injury to Starling, 4 turnovers. Eddie Lampkin, handling the ball a lot in the post, 4 turnovers. That's where a lot of your turnovers have been residing with the 2 freshmen and with Lampkin of late. So something to look out for there. It was intriguing early in the game to me. They came out in that press-ish thing. It wasn't like, we're here to really try to knock you out of the game press, but it was something. They were trying something. I think it threw Bucknell off a little bit. Donnie Freeman getting to use his athleticism there a little bit. It was a thing. Now, against like an ACC
points, things that I got upset about, a couple of shots at the end, plays that we scouted. We let them, score 6 or 9 points on the plays that we knew were coming. But, I was disappointed in that, disappointed in our turnovers. But overall, I thought it was one of the better games we played, this year. Just from a defensive standpoint, I thought our defense was a lot better. I thought it was more active. I thought we had some more energy, and I thought we rebounded the ball really well. We limited them to, a couple of shots, and then we got back out and we pushed it. So again, excited about that. As far as some progress, we needed that after coming off the Maryland game to have a game against a good team, and to be able to come out and respond that way. Sometimes you never know what's going to happen. After you have a loss like that. But I just thought these guys had a focus. They came out, and I thought the energy level was where it needed to be. It wasn't perfect by far. Still got ways to go, but it's a step in the right direction. Any questions?
What was your message coming back after the break, after the tough loss against Maryland and the rough start to the season? What was your message coming back?
Well, I explained to them, and I don't know if I explained it on my radio show or even in the last game. We had a pretty challenging non-conference. And I remember, when I took over, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go out and challenge ourselves. So when you challenge yourselves in these non-conference games, you're playing against teams, that you can lose to. That's the challenge, and I thought, we had a challenge in non-conference for our team. I think it will help us going forward. But what I talked about, and I can't take all the credit, it started from Kyle Cuff after the Maryland game. He texted me and he said, Coach, this season is, basketball season made up into 3 seasons, non-conference, regular season, conference, and then postseason. And I thought that was pretty impactful. And I thought about it, and so that's kind of what the message. And then I gave Kyle his credit on that, and it was very he put a lot of insight into that, and we just talked about that. And I just said, hey, let's just finish out our non-conference. Is it where we want to be at? No. I said, but let's finish it out with a win. All right, let's end that season. Let's get ready for the new season, which is the ACC conference, and that's what we're going to do.
Adrian, did you say after the Maryland game, we're going to change the game press pretty early in this game? Is that one of the things you were talking about, or was it specific mostly to Bucknell?
No, I think it was just, obviously when your team is not playing the way you want them to play, you got to look at everything, and I had a lot of time after that Maryland game to kind of reassess and think about some things. And, even in that defeat, I seen some things, especially with the press, that I said, this might be something that we might need to, explore more. And that's what, and that's what I thought would help us get going, and I thought it did. And we came back from break, and we really worked on it a lot. So, that's the change. Everybody always thinks it's like personnel, or it's everything. You got to look at everything when it's not going that way. I thought Lucas, our bench gave us a good lift. I think Lucas has kind of been really good for us the last, 2 or 3 games. So, everything is on the table, and again, still trying to get us better, trying to get us to the potential, trying to get us to the standard. I have a standard, and we're not there yet. All right. And obviously, you probably watched the game. You can see my frustration, right? But, I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to lower that. And I got to try to find the guys that are going to try to at least, give me that. Give me that, competing and at that standard. And what I said was, it may not be the people that everyone thinks it is sometimes. It's just whoever's going to step up and compete, play tough. Right, get on the floor. I don't care about missing the made shots. All right, guys, that's gonna battle. All right, that's what that's what this is about. And I got to find those guys, and I'm determined to find them, and I will find them.
Coach, seeing there were spells in this game where maybe you guys were pretty close to that standard. The offense seemed to be really good, and other spells you have several times you were really 3 minutes down the game. How do you make sure that the downs are a little bit less?
It's tough because, when you're talking about that standard right now, sometimes, that may hurt you, that may impact you sometimes on the offensive end. It just you may not have, what people say, hey, your best scorers or your best shooters out there. That may happen at times, but I thought, through that down stretch, we still kept our composure. We still kept playing. And then, we strung together a couple of stops. I think we got a little transition fast break out of there, offensive rebound. So, we just battled it out and toughed it out, and that's all you can do.
But do you think maybe you played some of those halves instead of 12, I think, the second half? And kind of went back to the same struggles you did going through all season. I think of a concern is the 3-point shooting.
I don't make a huge deal out of it. Obviously, I would like to, we would like to make some more threes. I thought we had some open ones as well. I think even the one at the end of the game, Lucas had one wide open. I think the biggest thing right now my biggest concern was just us, just battling, just going out there and competing, and obviously, playing tough and playing harder. The 3-point shots. We made 7, so again, that's more than what we have been making, and even again in a bad loss against Maryland, I think we had 8. So slowly but surely, it seems like we start to make a little bit more as we go. Do we need to make some more? Absolutely, but we also have a good balance of guys that can score in the paint. So my team, you got that balance. I think the one thing we got to do is probably try to get to the foul line more, which I thought we did today. We got to the foul line 23 times. When you're not making threes, I think you got to still be able to, put pressure on the rim and things like that to try to, cover up for that. And also, again, we had 13 steals. I think we had 3 in the first 2 minutes, and we couldn't score. So that's frustrating. But creating opportunities, creating steals, we haven't had that many steals since the first game of the season. So that was a good spot.
Understanding he's got a back issue with dealing with. Is this what you're going to need from him in like any assistant player?
No, I think Eddie's good. I mean, again, I don't want to make this a story, but he's good. I mean, he's again, the last 3 weeks he's been fine. Not trying to make that a story. He's fine, but we need him to play the way he played today. Obviously, taking care of the basketball a little bit more. Him and Donnie, we run a lot through them, so they got to, understand that they got to take care of the basketball a little bit more. I mean, 9 turnovers between those two guys. We got to do better than that. But we need him to be productive. We need him to, play with force. And I thought, he had a good amount of rest today as well. I thought, 27, 28 minutes, that's a good spot for him, I think.
Adrian, you mentioned Kyle Lewis, played 24 minutes since the most he played this season. Was he one of those guys that you thought, effort-wise, was getting him what he needed, what he wanted?
Absolutely. Kyle's tough. He's tough. He competes. He doesn't back down. And that's what resonates with me. And again, he didn't get off the bench for a couple of games early on, and you couldn't tell if you came to practice. He kept his head down, and that's who I want to go to war with. Guys that are going, be tough and battle. So I was, again, I'm proud that he's, kept working, and now he's contributing. He's getting his opportunities, taking advantage of it.
Coach, 15 points for Donnie Freeman today, and was also clearly energized in the second half. Was in foul trouble, picked up that technical. So I'm curious, what do you tell someone like him as a freshman to make sure he's bringing that energy for the team, but also not crossing that line and keeping his composure when he needs to?
Yeah, I had a conversation with him. I told him that he's in the gym. He's not outside today. So, but Donnie is, when that motor is running, man, it's running, and so we gotta keep it running, but try to get a little control. I think as he progresses, he'll do better. But again, I love, that Donnie Freeman when that motor is going and he's flying around and he's getting rebounds and stuff like that. I still think I keep challenging him to go up and block some shots because I know he can. But again, we need that energy. I just thought prior to this game, we just didn't have a lot of life in us. I didn't feel like we had a lot of energy. And, and today that was what I pulled from it. And even when we came back, I thought these guys had, 2 good practices.
Any update on JJ or his that?
You know what? He's doing well. He's, coming along. Well, I wish I had a timetable, but I don't. But I think he's close. But I don't know. I mean, that's just me. I'm not a doctor, so every time I think he's close, the doctor says, "Well, he's not that close." So, but I think I think he's close. He's he's starting to do some activities. He's starting to move around a little bit. So I don't have a definitive answer as far as when, but I think he's close, and I'm hopeful that he's close.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, there we are. Red Autry post-game presser today. As we always bring that to you live in full post-game after the home games. Brought to you as always by RomanoCars.com. Phone lines are open at 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. I'm not sure if JJ's got a broken hand. It's not like something you can watch in practice and be like, oh, yeah, it's coming around. He's getting close. You can watch on an X-ray and be like, is the break in his hand healed or not? It's less of a there's not a lot of visual clues. It's inside your skin, the thing, and you can't actually see the break. That's not how. If you can see the break, you're out for a very long time. That's my medical opinion on broken hands. I don't know. JJ's about a month in to his broken hand. These things generally take somewhere between 4 and 8 weeks. Somewhere between that's in a couple of weeks. That math I can handle. So we'll see. It's just where's the bone break? Anyway, I think you can hear there. And all right, and chat, can we? Do I need to send it? Like I will click some buttons. I will send you all to your neutral corner. So let's play nice. Play nice. The year is almost over. But we'll take some calls. We'll hang out in the chat here for the next little bit at 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. Phone lines open and available to y'all for the next little bit. We'll see how we're all doing today. But there was red after the game. I'd say nothing shocking coming out of there. The Kyle Cuff thing I was talking about earlier, you can hear from Red about the toughness part of Kyle Cuff, texting about 3 parts of basketball. I don't know. I'm going to guess the text was more profound than it was laid forth upon us then. But it tells you what is Kyle Cuff. What is he to this team right now? He's at least a guy that still believes in the process, that's trying to right the ship, that's willing to give effort, intensity, and attitude at that point. You know what? This team needs a little bit of that right now. This team needs a little bit right now. And it's business. Bucknell, yeah. Bucknell's not great. Bucknell's not great. I think they'll be fine in the Patriot League, but that's not a great basketball team that Syracuse played today. The Orange are now 6-6. Orange are now 6-6. 19 ACC games coming up. You've got Wake Forest, you got Florida State to end the year and then begin the next year. Man, it's possible if you want to go to negative town. It's possible this is the last time Syracuse is at 500 this year. It's also possible. You look at this ACC, man. Like, the ACC is not good. The ACC. This is the worst the league has been at this time of year since Syracuse has been in the league. This is the worst that the league has been. And people say, well, that's not great for the league and getting tournament bids and all that. No, it's not. It's not. But it's potentially good if you look at that. All right, that means the schedule is not ridiculous as you go on out. You're playing in a league that's mediocre. If we're trying to look at it positively here, okay, if Lampkin's back is feeling better, if Donnie Freeman continues to come along as a freshman, if you get, I like Elijah Moore, but again, he's a freshman and he's kind of being forced into a position that he's maybe not quite ready for right now, even though I do think he does need to be starting still. Okay, then you get JJ back in there in a couple of weeks, hopefully. Lucas Taylor's finally making some shots. Chris Bell, I don't know. Is that a lost cause for the season? Is that something that can turn around at some point? Like, there are some things. I mean, this team clearly has a ceiling that's nowhere near as high as you'd like. But, okay. Okay. You got your noisemaker? Are you getting it ready for New Year's, Tronic? I can hear it. I can hear what you've done. Yeah, Donnie Freeman getting into a little bit. You know what? I got teed up, but okay. All right. Let's show a little emotion. Let's see something. Don't want the team brawling out there, but man, like, look back at the Maryland game last week. It was beyond Deadsville. It was just done. There was nothing. There was no spark. There was no anything. It was 40 minutes of just blah. At least today, I get it's Bucknell, but man, okay. You got something. I mean, is some of it just like, okay, like Lampkin celebrating everything that occurs in the basketball court? All right. But if he's going 18-11, I'd rather have that. Yeah, maybe a brawl against Bucknell. Maybe that's just what you need. I don't know. I don't know. Like, obviously, the odds of this being a great and memorable season are not very high, but there is still a chance it can be salvaged into something, I suppose. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. But man, feels like Wake. Like Wake was supposed to be pretty good. They were picked preseason 3rd in the league. I think they are still, good. Hunter Salas is a very talented player, but they're not. And I guess this is where we'll see where it goes without JJ. In theory, they're not just like, oh my God, you can't possibly beat this team. And we'll see where Syracuse is right now in that realm coming up on Tuesday. Is the Pop-Tarts ball getting haywire? Are the Pop-Tarts going all over the place? Oh, man. I love the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Hopefully Syracuse gets... Well, will Fran Brown not be involved? Like, eggs have to be involved in making, like, the Pop-Tart crust, right? There's got to be, like, an egg involved in there, no? Could it be just a flour and water situation in that crust? Can Fran do the Pop-Tarts? So many questions. Where are the ACC standings right now? Where's Wake? Wake's 9-4, 1-1. Like, they're good, but they're not, like, oh, my God. Syracuse, in theory, can't deal with this. So I think Tuesday's going to be interesting. Like, if the Orange go out and play a game, okay. Then he at least sets something up. Florida State's coming up. The game after that, they're 9-4, but 0-2 in the league. I don't know. You're just looking at this league. Duke's good. After that, there's just nobody knocking your socks. I mean, North Carolina was supposed to be pretty good this year. They're 7-5. 7-5. I don't know. I don't know where this league is going, but does Wake have a game? Are they playing today? What's up with Wake Forest? Let's check in on Wake Forest schedule. Wake, when was this Clemson game? Wake lost to Clemson. Was that Thursday? When was that? That was a week ago. Yeah, so Wake's off. They play on their next game is the Syracuse game coming up. So I don't know. Their losses, Wake's losses are to Xavier, Florida, Texas A&M, and Clemson. So 3 out of their 4 losses were to ranked teams. I'm like, they're a solid team, but it's if you're going to be anything for Syracuse, it's a doable game. It's 28-28. What's Cam Ward got in that game? Good thing that McCord went crazy yesterday, huh? Because Kyle's got the ACC passing record. I think Cam Ward legitimately needs it's 650 yards because Kyle had about a 200-yard gap going into the game. So Cam would need about 650. Cam Ward's got 140. 925 in the second. All right. I feel that McCord's records are safe. But, man, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, you got the sprinkles on the sideline. Love the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Well, hopefully Syracuse gets to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl sometime. Phone lines are open at 315-437-7644. We'll get your calls going here in just a second here throughout our post-game show today. As we'll get your thoughts on this as we hang out here on Cuse Sports Talk on the Twitch, on the YouTube. I don't know where it's going. I don't know where this season is going, but like today was, what's today? A can't lose game? They couldn't lose the game. They didn't lose the game. So there's that. Syracuse, early on conference season. Your Wake at Florida State, Georgia Tech at home at BC. Like, you just look at the league right now versus Louisville, who struggled today with Eastern Kentucky. You're versus Notre Dame, who you yacked it away the first time. You look at the beginning of the schedule, like, it's doable if you're doing anything. It's also, like, losable. It's possible to lose all those games. Like, that's where Syracuse is at right now. All right, let's get our first call here of our post-game show today. It's our guy Steve in North Syracuse. Hey, Steve. What did I do? Where did I put Steve? Do I have Steve here? If I hit the button, it helps. There we are. Hey, Steve.
I'm hearing the crunch or something.
Oh, am I sending you the wrong? Well, there you are. Hang on, Steve. What have I done to Steve? I need to. Where is Steve? Am I sending Steve the wrong? See, the crunch are on our radio. Why is? Do you hear me now, Steve? Why is?
No.
Why is Steve hearing? Hang on. Let me stare at the buttons here. We'll figure this out together, Steve. Why is
You're getting
Steve
ground out by the crunch?
hang on, Steve. Let me. Why is Steve hearing the crunch? Why? Hang on.
Shall I call back?
There you go. Found the button, Steve.
Okay. Here we go.
I knew if I stared at the thing long enough, we'd figure this out. There you go, Steve. What's up?
Okay. On SyracuseFan.com, we have what is known as the Game Day thread. They want all of the comments made during the game to come under the same title because it makes it look neater that way. The Game Day thread for the Holiday Bowl went on for 76 pages.
Mm-hmm.
The Game Day thread for the Bucknell game went 12 pages. And I think that kind of symbolizes where we are with SU football and basketball right now. This Syracuse team looks like a team still in the very early stages of its development. And we're 12 games into the season and ready to start the conference schedule, and we should be way ahead of this right now. Obviously, 21 turnovers, most of them rather careless, and continued bad free throw shooting is going to be a huge problem, and there's really no excuse for it. But another thing I look at is the day-to-day performance of the players. I mean, who do we have that we can rely on each game? Eddie Lampkin had a real good game today, and he's been playing fairly well recently. Other games he wasn't able to. Donnie Freeman scored 15 points, but he also had 5 turnovers and 4 fouls, so that kind of pulled him down a bit. Carlos played well today. Cuff played well today. Elijah Moore had a nightmare game today. Chris Bell has now missed his last 17 three-pointers. Lucas Taylor kind of stepped in for him. He had 2 three-pointers in the last game and hit 3 in this one, and maybe he'll be getting more playing time. Mastranovic played very well when he's in there, whether Red is willing to give him more than the 11 minutes he got tonight, I don't know. J.R. Davis is obviously a productive player who the last couple of games has produced very little and didn't play that much. So it's like a bank of elevators going up and down. And I think until the team gets everybody on the same page performing fairly well, it's going to be hard to make much progress. Obviously, it's going to be great to get J.J. back, but we're still going to need to get everybody performing at a consistent level in order to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, I think you hit it on the head there. Like, I mean, say Eddie Lampkin. In theory, you look at who's talented on this roster. Where's it coming from? Without JJ, you need Lampkin and Freeman every game. One of them's a freshman, and the other guy every now and again his back flares up, which takes you away from that stuff. Jair, you'd hope to be your lead guy off the bench. He's not there. If Lucas Taylor can keep doing this, I think that would be a good thing. Elijah Moore has been all over the lot, but yeah, I mean, J.J. Starling was your most consistent player, right? Before that, without him in there, you're kind of lacking your North Star on this team for better or worse. So I think it's going to be tough for us to know, right? Like the ball's going to go in the air, and you're like, all right, who's here tonight? You just don't know when these games start.
No.
All right, Steve. Thanks as always for the call. There's our guy, Steve, who I apologize for. He got to. We love Lucas Favali, but we don't mean to play the crunch for our callers while we're doing this. And to Steve's point about the forums and whatnot, like I can vouch that. I see how many people are with us on Postgame right now. We love all of you. It's closing on 4 or 5. It's almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon here. We had a lot more people hanging out and chatting at 1 a.m. this morning. Like there was a lot more people. Like times a lot more people hanging out at 12:31 in the morning when we all should have been asleep last night talking Cuse football, talking Kyle McCord. It's just it's strange times as we got the phone lines open here at 315-437-7644 as we'll get our next callers on the line sooner than later. Phone lines are going wonky right now. I don't know what's going on over here. I feel weird things are happening. Whoever was just trying to call back, something weird. Something weird was going on. I dropped Steve's call. It didn't go away. The buttons are hard sometimes. I blame Paulie. It's all Paulie's fault. I blame Paulie. That's the official stance of this show. Everything is Paulie's fault. If you were just trying to call back, and we'll try that again. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, there's a lot more people in on Syracuse football right now than Syracuse basketball. And if we had that conversation a couple of years ago, it would be really confusing. Like legitimately confusing. Who would think that? Who would think that? I don't know. And now here we are. Yeah, well, we're way more in on football right now than we like at the moment. Unfortunately, we just had a basketball game right now, and I imagine more of you care about whatever Kyle McCord's thinking about it this second than the game we just saw. That's just kind of the way it is right now. All right, let's go back to the phone. So we got our guy Dro in Clay. Hey, Dro, what's going on?
Hey guys, happy holidays.
You as well.
I mean, back in the day, like either SU basketball, like when they went to the Sugar Bowl in '87, or even the Fiesta Bowl in '92. People are more concerned about the basketball team.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
That's how it was. And you can see that, I mean, myself today, the game was today, I should be playing basketball today. And I'll be honest, I didn't even cross my mind to go to the game. And if you had told me 20 years ago, as he was playing Bucknell on a holiday weekend, you'd have close to 28,000 people there. That's a fact. Today, I'm not sure what the attendance was, but it is what it is. I mean, you're right. Right now, what's Kyle McCord going to do? If the NCAA gives him the waiver, Kyle's back. As far as the basketball team, we want this team to get better. I mean, it's just not looking good right now for the foreseeable future, including this season. What happens next season, I don't know. But I mean, what do you think of the ACC? I mean, here's the question I ask you: is can this team make the ACC tournaments?
Yeah,
teams will not make it.
Yeah, I think they can draw. I mean, here's the thing: you're going to need JJ back, so. We'll see when that happens. When hopefully it's on the shorter end of however long broken hands take to heal. So hopefully a couple weeks, but who the heck knows? And then hopefully he's effective because obviously his left hand is still going to be messed up a little bit there for a while. So 15 of the 18 make it, as you said. The league is not good. Now Syracuse is part of the league being not good. so that they're part of it. It's not like Syracuse is above the fray here. But yeah, I think if Syracuse is playing average in this league. And everybody else playing average, yeah, you'll win some games, and hopefully you'll make it to the tournament. It's a conversation, right? I can't believe we're having the conversation, but sadly, it's realistic. Will they? Is there a chance they miss the ACC tournament? Like JJ takes longer, and this team's a mess in the league. Yeah, it's possible, but I think they'll make it. But I don't say that with a high level of confidence right now.
And that's the crazy thing. I mean, there were years where Syracuse would lose 6 games in 2 years.
Right.
I mean, we have now 6 games. Or 500, and it's not even New Year's yet, So hopefully they can get some wins going here. But I mean, it's just not like you miss the days of them just playing, of just being dominant, and it's really gone downhill. So hopefully within time this can turn around and kind of get the football juice going. But I do feel bad for Autry. I think he can get it done, but I mean, I think the reality is. It's all depends on next year what happens to him. That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
it all depends. Next year is the year. It's a make or break year for Autry next year. And now let me ask you on McCord. Do you think McCord will be back next year? Will the NCAA give him the waiver?
I'm betting that Kyle, even if he gets the way, I'll say this. Kyle McCord, this I'm certain of. Kyle McCord legitimately enjoyed his time here this year. Like, he went through a lot of crap as the Ohio State quarterback last year, and he took every bullet for no good reason as their quarterback last year. And I think he really enjoyed playing for Fran. I think he really enjoyed how he was embraced here. And obviously he enjoyed setting the ACC passing yardage record. Like, it was a lot of fun here. My lean is I don't know if he's going to get the waiver. For one, I doubt he gets the waiver because it doesn't make a lot of sense. I suppose he could. And for two, even if he gets the waiver, my guess is he ends up going to the draft because he's going to be his stock's riding high right now. A lot of people are saying good things. That said, Dro, if he gets the waiver, let's go. We'll fire up the countdown right now. We'll start counting down to the season tomorrow if he says he's coming back, because it'll be wildly exciting if he says that.
Exactly. So hopefully back.
Nope, we lost Dro. Dro vanished. I think he was close to the end anyway. I don't know where he went. Phone line's open, though, 315-437-7644. Sorry, I didn't do it. I didn't hang up on Dro. We've been struggling on the buttons here in the last couple minutes. That wasn't me. I think it was the cell service. Blame your cell providers. But yeah, it's crazy, is it not? That we're here in Syracuse. It's December 28th. It's basketball season now. Like, football season officially ended yesterday. And there have been plenty of years. I mean, Dro's going back, 87, like those early 90s. There have been plenty of years was football really good, and we all cared about football, and it was great. But at the same time, like, at this point of the year, it wasn't like football was forsaken, but you were all in on hoops and enjoying the fact that football was also good. Now it's, man, bowl game last night was awesome. We were all up late. We were enjoying it. Everyone's dragging a little bit today. Back in the day, though, you would have been up late. You would have enjoyed it. And then, would there have been 28,000 for a Bucknell game? I don't know. There would have been 20. The announced attendance today was 15,987. I get it. We've been through attendance and the 8 million reasons the attendance is what it is. And, you know, part of it is performance. Part of it is television. Part of it is cost. Part of it is, you know, post-COVID, people just stop going to stuff. You know, there's a lot of reasons why the attendance is down. What was the actual attendance in the building today? It was kind of hard to tell on TV. It wasn't 16,000. Say it was 10. So, yeah, it's not what it was. But to Dro's main point, and, you know, Dro's among the people, a lot of you out there that are in on this for a long, long, long time. The main part is, I think for a lot of people, it didn't cross your mind to go to the game today. And I'm not blaming you for it. Like, that's a problem. That, more than anything, is a problem. I don't blame you. I'm not blaming you. I'm not saying it's your problem. That's the university's problem, the basketball team's problem, and there's a lot of reasons for it. It's not like, oh, my God, it's Red Autry has driven people away from the program. But the other side of the coin is, yeah, I think next year, flipping it forward, I think it's going to be a vitally important year for Red and where the program's heading for the future. Not that it come back. Look at football. Just wait until we start hearing about season ticket sales for football next year, even though most of the wild and interesting games are not going to be in the Dome. There's 6 Dome games next year. There was 1 game in football this year that attendance broke 40,000. Go figure, the 1 game that did that and sold out was Holy Cross of all games because it was Parents' Weekend. Look for a significant pickup on that end of things next year because people, I mean, especially McCord comes back, but people are all in on football right now. People are all in on football right now. Meeks is out of eligibility. Alphabet guy. I really enjoyed the Jackson Meeks experience. Unfortunately, he's out. But yeah, it's kind of crazy because at this time of the year, in other years, even in good football years, you now it's changed a bit. The portal keeps conversation going. There's a lot of things that keep football conversation going these days that did not exist a few years ago. An entrance to the portal closes at, I believe, midnight, unless you're in a bowl game. You got a few days after a bowl game, depending on when your team's is to get in the portal. So there will still be activity and action out there on the portal, and obviously the Kyle McCord ruling and decision and all that will keep us glued on that. But in the past, like basketball season started almost 2 months ago at this point. We'd be so far in on basketball season, so far in on it. And now it's, yeah, okay, like we're going to be there. We'll be here. We're here, pregame, postgame, every game, rest of the season, regardless of what happens. We'll be here. Tim Leonard's got you on Tuesday. Next Saturday, I'll be here pregame. You get to kick around Paulie postgame next Saturday. Like we got lots of stuff here going on. We got lots of stuff going on. But to Steve's point about how many, reams of words were expelled on message boards last night. I can see, I can look at it. I go back to our last 2 football post games. We had the most people we ever had on Cuse Sports Talk for anything by a wide margin for the Miami football post game. Now, it's an all-time great game, but immediately people felt the need to congregate and talk about it. Remember last night on a football post game, we had, what was his name? We had a caller from Carthage that called in. Carthage. Local, but he was unaware of our whole thing. But he found us on YouTube last night and felt the immediate need to call in and talk football. That's not happening right now with Syracuse basketball. That's not happening. Can it happen again? Football is the clear answer that yes, it can happen again. Because it had not been happening for Syracuse football for a long time. So, what's the way back in for basketball? It's as simple as it is for football. The way back in, as always, is winning. The way back in is always winning. Now, how much winning do you have to do? How consistently do you have to do it? How long do you have to do it? That's the question that's become harder and harder to answer. Like with basketball, it used to be, disinterested, and then you win 1 game and people are locked back in, boom, ready to go. Think back, we've talked about this game a lot recently because of the Maryland blowout last week. Think back to that DePaul butt kicking back in 06. Everyone was out. Bale and Water donezo. Within a week and a half, they had won the Big East tournament. Again, not saying that's what's happened this year, but think about how fast in that year you went from all out on that Syracuse basketball team to, holy crap, that was the most exciting week we've ever seen. That's not what we got going on right now. But I just think of what it's going to take to draw people to re-energize a basketball fan base right now. It's going to take some kind of crazy spark like that to get people back in on this. Like, we're all in it. We're going to watch the games. We're going to be here. We're going to talk about it. We still have a good group in the chat right now. We don't have a small crowd. But last night, you know, we had 3 or 4 times this at 1 in the morning. It's just the way it is right now for Syracuse basketball. It's got to be frustrating if you're on the team and all that. It's got to be frustrating to say, I play for Syracuse basketball. I'm like, yeah, do you know what Kyle McCord's doing? You know, like, realistically, my whole life, there have been great football moments. Great football moments. Graves, McNabb, Dungy. And in Nassif's career, like, there have been some moments. There have been some games, great, memorable games. But, like, year in, year out, game in, game out, drama, consistent drama. Yeah, great games, but just consistent, nonstop drama. It was basketball. It was basketball. And right now, that's the football. Right now, we're sitting here waiting for the new year. Last weekend of the year, the most interesting single thing about Syracuse sports on a day where a winning basketball game just happened in the Dome. The most interesting single thing in Syracuse sports is the sheer unlikelihood that the record-setting quarterback might be back for another year. And I'm so intrigued by that. And gosh darn rooting for it, because we love working with Kyle, and it'll be great to have him around here for all the stuff we do for another year. Selfishly, it'd be great to have Kyle. But for all of us to be able to, basketball, to be able to still show up for game days and be interested in basketball, but to be able to now flip the calendar to January, to have 9 months, 8 months, I guess it would be 8 months to count down to this Tennessee game next year, knowing you're walking into a gunfight with the gunslinger in Kyle McCord. Oh, man, that would be electric. Whereas basketball, it's like, all right, they play Tuesday. They play Tuesday. So we'll see. Phone line's open here for the next little bit. We'll hang out for a few more minutes. 315-437-7644. What are we feeling in the chat right now? What are we feeling? Publicly fire Red at halftime. We're going to hit Red with a folding chair at the Wake Forest game. And not only that, Kyle McCord's going to hit him with the chair. Oh, man. That's where we're at right now, isn't it? Tuesday's crowd, I mean, it's a conference game. It's, kids are off from school. New Year's Eve afternoon. Yeah, I think there'll be more people there Tuesday than today. I think it'll be decent, but it won't be great. I will say this, though. This is the benefit as far as, like, if you're not there. If you're there, I imagine you have a better sense of it. But if you're not there, if you're watching on TV, like with the silver bleachers in the past, it was so very obvious. Are there people there? Are there not? You can still tell, like, is it loud? Is it not loud? Is the crowd engaged? Are they not engaged? But with the blue seats now, it's really hard to tell. Like that, and they didn't do. I'd say the one sign, it may not have been the largest crowd. Like with Syracuse games, like TV won't stop giving you the wide crowd shots to see how big they are when it's a big crowd. Did we even get one wide crowd shot today? Again, it was the CW. That is a limiting situation for all of us. There could have been 70,000 people in there. I don't know if they would have shown us that. I was waiting for Teddy Valentine ref cam brought to you by Ace Hardware. I'm still shook by those 3 straight CW football broadcasts we had to deal with back in November. I'm still shook by it that I'm just waiting for we're just hanging TV Teddy in the air and he's got cameras on his shoes. Brought to you by Ace Hardware. Was the bowl good, San Diego Cuse? I know you. Did I see you sign on very late last night? I'm sure you were busy enjoying. I'm glad you enjoyed. All right, still time for some calls if you'd like to chime in here at 315-437-7644. Why the CW hate? Because the broadcasts are terrible, LA Orange. They are terrible. I can't deal with it. They're not streaming. They're a pain in the ass. Like, look at today's broadcast. All right, so the game before it went slightly long. So what was our way to watch the beginning of the game today? There wasn't. Yes. Yes, TV Teddy can see it. Like, there was no way, if you were watching on TV, it was literally impossible to watch the beginning of the game. That is problem. It's 2025 is next week. It was impossible to watch the beginning of the game. Like, come on. Would I be throwing? I am not throwing shade at fine Syracuse graduate Tom Wormy, Syracuse cat. No, Super Cat. No, I am not doing that. I would not do that. It's just I don't think the production of the broadcast. It's just yeah. Tom Wormy and former UNC big man John Henson were on the call today. I think John is very new to the broadcast game. He might have only been doing this. Something Tom mentioned it very briefly at the beginning. He didn't seem to go in depth. That usually works with Mike Kaminsky. I don't know if Mike was sick or busy or something, but I don't know if Henson was a pinch hitter or whatever the deal was. But yeah, our guy Thom Brenneman's working the Snoop Bowl right now. Working the Snoop Bowl. Why was it impossible to watch the beginning of the game? Because it wasn't on television, Tusi. The game before it ended, they took a commercial break, and then they got to the Syracuse game, and 2 minutes had happened. It was literally impossible to watch the beginning of the game. How was I supposed to watch the beginning of the game? It was not on television. Like, is that what he said? I didn't quite hear what he said, Mark. Is that what it was? Yeah. I mean, they worked together forever. I like Tom. Tom's a great guy, friendly guy. I always talk to Tom when I see Tom. He's very, very proud. Yeah, I didn't miss much, Steve. It's a good point. Like, Tom is a very, very proud Syracuse graduate. We love to have our proud Syracuse grads out and about in the broadcasting world. But it's 2024-25, and there was nothing I could do. Not a single thing I could do unless I descended, like sprinted over to the dome for 2 seconds to watch the beginning of the game. Tuesday, I believe, Zach, is ESPN2 on Tuesday. Let me check that real quick. I believe Tuesday's ESPN2. Hang on. We're clicking. Like, come on. And this is, am I blaming the CW? Yeah, but this is an ACC situation. This is where you've assigned your next level TV rights to a TV station that literally cannot guarantee they are going to have the game on the air. It's just like when part of your TV rights are going to someplace that can't guarantee the game's going to be on the air. That's a problem. That's the problem. As always, though, yes, listen on TK99, ESPN 1200, always a great option. Yes, ESPN 2 on Tuesday for Wake Forest. ESPN 2 on Tuesday for Wake Forest. Yeah, everyone, like, the whole league, like, Duke's on the CW next Saturday. The whole league rotates. Like, you always get, especially in basketball season where that stuff is pre-assigned. Football's a little different. It's a week-by-week thing. In basketball, like, due to the nature of the TV contract, like, everybody's going to get rotated through the CW. I think Syracuse has, yes, they all do, Tusi, but they all have other means of letting you see the game. ESPN, if a game runs over, they put up game starting on ESPN News, game streaming on ESPN Plus or something. The game is available somewhere. The game started today, and you could not watch the game. It was impossible. Literally impossible. I know we didn't miss much. It's not the point. They're like, the game starts at 2:11. The Louisville game ended at 2:11. What did they do at 2:11? They went to commercial. They didn't go to the other game. Your TV, you're in control of the situation. They're not good at being in control of the situation. If they were good at being in control of the situation, we wouldn't have missed any of the game. You know where you could listen to the game? TK99. Oh, man. Snoop Bowl's on, though. I don't know if you've heard. Snoop Bowl. Scooter said we're getting pizza here if they hit under 79 points in the Snoop Bowl. I didn't quite catch why last night, but I'm all in for pizza. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can, like, streaming the CW. Like, I don't know how to stream it separately. I don't know how. I'll still take it over the Yes Network situations of years past. I'll take it, but it's terrible. Yeah, there's plenty of ways to do stuff like that now, Super Cat, which is cool. I like anyone that does stuff like that. Listen to Tim and Coach or Matt and Coach and all that stuff. Sync it up with TV. It's great. I love anyone that does that. I'm all for that, but in order to sync it up, there's got to be something to sync to. Got to be something to sync to. All right. Is that enough bitching about the CW? I'll bitch about it more. When's the next CW game? We're going ESPN2, Florida State's ACC Network, Georgia Tech's ACC Network, at Boston College on the CW. What are the CW games? How many more? At Boston College on the CW. Home for Boston College on the CW. At Virginia Tech on the CW. All right, three more CW games. Okay. One a month. There's one in January, one in February, one in March. All right. Yes. Show schedule this upcoming week, CBW. Here's our programming schedule. We'll leave you with this as we head out the door. Tomorrow's Sunday. Nothing. Monday, Orange Nation at noon. Period. Tuesday, pregame for Wake Forest at 1 with Tim Leonard. Postgame after the game with Tim Leonard. Wednesday is New Year's Day. Thursday and Friday, Orange Nation and my show. So there is the week coming up. Cody's off all week. Then next Monday, the 6th, we'll be going full bore at it again. And then obviously anytime there's a basketball pre and post game, I believe we'll have a Red Autry show on Thursday. Is Thursday, I think, actually might be our first following Q&A on Q Sports Talk. I need to verify that. Need to verify we're starting on that. So there we are. Yes, and Mike, like even on days I don't have shows, Mike McAllister is just going to call up and bitch about reffing, just because that's what we do. He's just going to, he'll just, like, I don't have a show on Monday, but Mike's just going to be there just complaining about the refs. Why? Because we need it. We need it in our lives. He'll just be complaining about TV Teddy. Okay, so there we go. Again, Monday, Orange Nation. Tuesday, pregame, postgame. Thursday, Orange Nation into the 315. Friday, Orange Nation into the 315. Next Saturday, pre and post for Florida State. There we are. We're up to date. With that, We've done an hour. I'll give you my Happy New Year's. We got plenty of stuff before then, but my Happy New Year's to you. I'll talk to you all again next year, 2025. Here it is. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy whatever Paulie and Steve have to say on Monday. Enjoy the Wake Forest game on Tuesday. I'll talk to you all next year.